I want to tell you a story about a tree. But before we talk about the tree, let's talk about the property. In 1978, this lot was cleared for a new construction. So this house is only 42 years old. And as you can see in that picture, there were 0 trees on that lot. So a lot has been planted up here. These photos are from up in the bucket truck. And this is what the area surrounding this particular lot looks like. It's a heavily vegetated area. This is the tree that I'm talking about. Remember, I'm up in the top of a bucket truck looking at the very tip top of this tree. But it's a very wet region of California. We get a lot of rain, but we get a lot of wind. Very, very strong winds coming off of the coast here. And as you can see, this is the same house with the tile roof. And this is the tree. This is actually after I've pruned it. And I shaped it all the way around, which is not something I normally like to do with a redwood tree, but when you have a tree that's a disaster like this one, look at this. At one time, it was a double trunk tree, and half of it broke off. And I remember I went out there, this was about 20 years ago, and there was about a 40-foot trunk laying on the ground. And up at the top, it snapped again. That was about 6 or 7 years ago. And interesting that because of the damage that has occurred to this tree and the way it has been whipped by the wind, it is developing very oddly. It's becoming not a tall, slender, single leader. It's becoming sort of a short, squat, overly wide growing tree. And if you know anything about redwood trees, you know they're very, very brittle. Now it has 2 tops up here. And the 2 tops are growing from 2 different areas off of the break, the upper break. And if you look on the left-hand side, you can see that there's a new top developing right where the old top broke, and it's got some active cambium tissue. But the second top is actually a limb that's growing from below the break that has reestablished itself as the new top. So I've got a little bit of a dilemma here. Should I take one of these out and let the other one develop, or looking up there, I can see that both of them are kind of sparse, and they do give the appearance of a full top. So I kind of thought, well, at this point, I needed to talk to the client about it. And I think it's probably best just to leave them. But in all honesty, with the winds that they have up here, every few years we have 80, 90, sometimes 100-mile-an-hour winds that come in off the coast. And this tree is just going to continue to get buffeted. Now look at all those other straight shoots that are coming up from around the outside. Those are limbs that are trying to reestablish themselves as tops. And look at that mess. That is unbelievable. That's about 20 feet up in the tree, and I've never seen such a mass of branches coming out from one area. That was the only spot I could get through to trim it. There was one, and it was tight, really tight. I cleaned out all the dead wood and opened it up so that I could work on it. And here's the tree. They're building a little shed out here, and they wanted a little bit of safety from the tree. And unfortunately, they're going to have to work on this tree every couple of years, because look at those tufts up there. That's what happens when you stub back a redwood tree. It develops multiples. And about 10 years ago, the previous owners planted another redwood tree, which is going to end up doing the same thing. I don't know. You shouldn't plant a redwood tree in some locations, and a hillside with a lot of wind is definitely a mistake.